Carson Wentz above all of them.
I mean,
Carson Steele I might even put above some of those guys. Comes down to the last game of the season. Yes, we're resting starters. We're going to be on the road in Denver. Even though we're resting starters, we want to win this game. Well, I mean, we still want to win. Like, our goal is to not lose a game. You know, that is not to just lose this game, right? That's not our goal. Honestly, so there's a lot of scenarios. I guess I'll talk a little bit about this scenario. Bengals fans are saying, oh, Chiefs want to lose to Denver because they're scared to see the Bengals in the playoffs. Honestly, I would much rather see us beat the Broncos, the Bengals win, them go to Buffalo and beat Buffalo, because I'd much rather play Bengals than Buffalo. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, I would much rather torch the Bengals. Absolutely walk all over them. Right? We beat them earlier this year at home in Arrowhead.
And that was before they hit all of their struggles.
Right.
I mean, they weren't hitting their stride or anything like that, but they've been struggling.
The Chiefs or the Bengals?
The Bengals.
Well, their defense has.
Playing them. Right.
Their
defense has, and the offense has been, pretty much firing on all cylinders.
But that's the thing is, like, they were all, we can beat the Chiefs. We can beat the Chiefs. We were without our number 1, our number 2, our number 4, and our number 5 receivers at that moment. We were without our starting running back at that moment. Right? Isaiah Pacheco went out. Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't we have an injury on defense at the time? We had somebody on defense that was injured. I can't remember who it was. I don't remember. Anyways, but like, our offense was the worst form of our offense all season in that moment, right? And they still couldn't beat us. So imagine us clicking on all cylinders now, and you know what I mean? Like, there's I don't see a scenario where I wouldn't want the Bengals in the playoffs, just because I would much rather face them the Bills, Yeah. Like, the Bills are a scarier team all the way around. Now, Bills defense isn't looking great either. So who really knows? Right now we're focused on Denver. We're focused on Carson Wentz coming in and getting a start, and watching some of our guys maybe get some reps before the end of the season, going into the playoffs, maybe to see some field time, because you never know what's going to happen in the playoffs. You got to have that next man up mentality, Yeah,
and this is a good game because the Broncos are fighting for their life.
Right.
And so it's going to be against a motivated opponent for these backups to really get some great on-field experience.
Denver's a good team, right? They played our ones really well, right? We struggled at home against the Broncos. We really did. Yeah. It took us blocking a field goal last minute to win the game. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game.
So if you're the coaching staff,
yeah,
how many do you sit? You sit every starter?
No, you can't. You can't physically cannot. There's not enough people on the field, or like on the team to rest all your starters. So the starters you're mainly focused on are going to be your quarterback. You're probably going to take out your top. You're probably going to rest Kelsey, right? Your receivers are all probably going to start because most of them haven't been, like, DeAndre Hopkins joined late, right? He didn't play a lot of games with Tennessee, so he really didn't get into the flow of things until like week 10, week 11, right? Then you got Hollywood Brown, who just came back. He's going to, he's only played 2 games. He's going to play in this game. He's going to get him more reps. Xavier Worthy's probably going to play. Xavier Worthy, if there's a player to rest, it's probably going to be Xavier Worthy, right? In the receiving core, because he's played every game this season. So they'll probably rest Xavier Worthy if they rest anybody. You might see Jawan Taylor, who's been kind of nursing an injury on our offensive line. He might take a rest. And we might put in Wanye Morris. You might just have Joe Tooney rest and throw Kingsley or Wanye back at left tackle. I would say if you throw Kingsley at left tackle and then put Wanye at right tackle, keep Mike Caliendo in, maybe throw in Hunter Norzad at center, rest Creed, and then you still got Trey Smith on the line to kind of help out. Realistically, you're probably going to see 60% of the line, of the starters probably still playing this game on the offensive line. Yeah. Defensively, you're probably going to see Chris Jones rest because he's dealing with that calf injury. Probably going to see Mike Pennell rest because the hamstring injury. You'll probably Swayze Bozeman's probably going to get some minutes. You'll probably see Nick Bolton or Drew Tranquil rest up. You'll see probably George Karlaftis rest a bit. We might see a little bit more of Felix Ndubuike-Uzomah. Might see a little bit more of honestly Joshua Uche is probably not seeing another snap with the Chiefs. I don't know, maybe he just didn't get it, but he's probably not gonna see minutes. I mean, you never know though. He might.
Yeah.
My guess is Trent McDuffie probably gets some rest. So you're probably gonna start Najee Johnson and Joshua Williams at corners. You might see Justin Reed get some rest, so that's Deion Bush and Brian Cook getting reps. So yeah, I mean you'll see a decent amount of people get some rest, right? I would say in total there's probably going to be like 8 guys that probably don't start. And honestly, if they do, like they're not going to play the whole game, right? Yeah. They'll probably start and then rest in the second half or something like that, Because the last thing you want to do is risk injury. Everybody's like, "Oh, Chiefs are resting their starters because they don't. They want to beat the." Or they're resting the starters because they want Denver to beat them. That way, the Bengals don't get in. That's not. You want to rest your starters so they have rest and they're not injuring themselves in the last game of the season when nothing can change in the playoffs, right? Whether we have 1 loss on the season or 2 losses on the season, doesn't matter. Doesn't change the playoff seeding whatsoever. So we're going to rest those guys. We're going to make sure that they're healthy, they're well. And I mean, we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. I totally forgot. We're going to rest Isaiah Pacheco too. Isaiah Pacheco's going to rest. We'll see a lot of Samaje Perine. We'll see a lot of Carson Steele. And yeah, we'll just we'll play it by ear with everybody else. But Bill Belichick was on the Pat McAfee show, and he said he hated being the guy to walk in and say, hey, these 5 players are more important than the rest of you. So these 5 players are going to rest. You know what I mean? So,
but it's just reality sometimes.
It's just reality sometimes. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is, which is fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll keep an eye out on those guys and just see what happens. So when it comes to the Broncos, like this game, like really, the crazy thing is, so going into games, we talk about what we're scared of, what we're not scared of. Really, that doesn't matter this week, right? That really doesn't matter this week. Now, do we want to see the Broncos in the playoffs? I mean, I wouldn't mind it. That means that they would have beaten probably the Bills or the Ravens, So, I mean, it doesn't bother me one way or another. I would much rather see the Broncos over the Ravens. Ravens have found their stride in the middle of the season, and they've just been cooking. You know what I mean? They've been cooking the past few weeks. They beat the Steelers. They beat Houston, 2 other playoff teams, and I mean they're just rolling, right? They're just rolling. So that's a team you probably don't want to see. So I mean, Denver beats the Ravens in Baltimore, by all means. Like let's meet the Broncos.
Yeah, because like you're saying, if the seeding stays the way it is, they would have taken out Buffalo and the Ravens, which are our biggest threats.
Yeah.
That's only if everything stays the way it is, but that would be huge.
Be huge.
Especially if we beat them with our backups.
Yeah.
well,
and they're
fighting.
Backups,
they're out of the playoffs.
Yeah, if we beat them with the backups,
or
if
it's close with the backups. If it's close, and then we still meet them.
It says a lot. Well, and let's be honest. Let's talk. Carson Steele is not a slump, man. He's not a slouch. No. Before he got injured in Philly, Philly was the best team in the NFL. And then Nick Foles came in and took over and won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. And Carson Wentz is a guy that you want to have on your team, but you would hate playing against him, right? He's that guy. If you're on the other team, you don't like him. But if he's on your team, you're like, yeah, we like that guy, right? He's going to give his all for the team. He's going to make sure that he's fighting just as hard as you are for him, so...
Well, and he seems to understand his role in the team and not take it personally. Like he's like whenever Mahomes was questionable, he was just like, "Look, I'm taking reps, but the goal was to have Mahomes start. Yeah, like he'll probably start. Like that's just the kind of guy he is, and he's totally fine with that. Yep. Because he just wanted to. It seems like he wants to be in a winning culture and win a Super Bowl maybe and do his part.
Win a Super Bowl with two different teams as a backup. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Why not? And if there was one, so I would put Carson Wentz. Honestly, he could probably start for 16 teams in the NFL right now.
Yeah, and do it confidently.
There's a lot of teams that are having trouble at quarterback. A lot of teams, and I would put Carson Steele, dear Lord, Carson Wentz above all of them. Carson Steele, I might even put above some of those guys at quarterback. Yeah. So. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. This game doesn't matter to us. It matters to Denver. The only reason it matters to us as Chiefs Kingdom is because we hate the Broncos. We hate the Broncos. So we're going to take ourselves to Arrowhead Northwest and try to put the smackdown on the Broncos, right? Yeah. Broncos have not beaten us in Denver. Well, did they beat us last year in Denver? I can't remember. But
they did. I believe that we lost to the Broncos.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking up Denver. Year.
And I remember it being kind of a surprise. Was it our first? It wasn't our first loss, I don't think.
Okay. So, let's see.
Maybe it was.
Broncos Chiefs matchups over last 10 years.
So our first loss came in Week 8 to the Broncos, and we lost.
Yep, we did.
24-9.
Yep. So, that's right. So it was 2 weeks after we
second loss. Sorry, we lost to Detroit Week 1. Remember?
It was 2 weeks after we played them in Arrowhead. So we beat them there. But let's go back. Before that, we had won 1, 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in a row in Denver before last season. We had won 8 in a row in Denver. And that includes Peyton Manning's last year. But they were resting. They were resting starters that year. Denver was. So, but yeah, it's gonna be a game, man. That's Arrowhead Northwest. The what do I call Vegas? Vegas is like Arrowhead, like Midwest or Central West. I'll call it, and then the Chargers SoFi is Arrowhead Southwest. I mean,
all of our other stadiums are out west.
I know, right? It's crazy. We win. Like, honestly, those teams in the last decade, or since Mahomes come on to the Chiefs, those teams have beat us more in Arrowhead than they have in their own stadiums, which is absolutely insane.
Wow.
So, but yeah, man, we're gonna pick it up. We're gonna kill it. We're gonna have fun. It's gonna be a fun game, man. Like, you go in with no expectations, and then anytime you like something good happens, you get up and you celebrate it.
You get to enjoy
it.
Right?